And right now we have State Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara on the phone with us with important and useful information for people who have lost their homes or have damage to their homes. What is the advice that you have for our viewers?
Thank you. You know, first of all, my heart goes out. This is truly devastating. I think the most important thing we need to do now is, one, obtain a copy of your insurance policy. You also have to take note of your additional living expenses limits in your policy, and also track all your additional expenses. We got to make sure we document all conversations with your insurer or an adjuster. And what we're telling people right now, look, the most important thing is to please access safety, stay away from the area, don't rush into any decisions, and to call the Department of Insurance. We have people live on the phone that can help people address these issues. Insurance can be very complicated, especially during these very stressful times. Also, we have to look out, unfortunately, for fraudsters. There is a 3-day cooling off period. Please do not sign anything with any public adjuster until you speak to your insurance company, or you can call our office. We can check their license and verify them. It's 1-800-927-4357. It's very important that you have somebody on your side. The department's here to be your advocate during this very stressful and really traumatizing time for our community.
Well, that is such amazing advice, to give people encouragement to be patient and to not sign anything right away. But Mr. Lara, I have to ask you a challenging question here as the insurance commissioner. So many neighborhoods across this state are being refused insurance coverage for fire, and the insurance companies say it's because of all of the devastating fires. What are you going to do? What is the state going to do to hold these insurance companies to the fire, so to speak, and make sure that people, this is the Palisades, Altadena, Eaton fire. These are people who are not living in areas necessarily that are worried about fire, and they might, after this event, not be able to get fire coverage. What will you do? What will your office do to make sure that people in this state can still get fire coverage?
That is a great question, and I can tell you now that the governor has declared a state of emergency. We now are going to move towards protecting those homeowners and those communities and those business owners from being dropped from their insurance company for a year. That is a protection that we did when I was in the legislature and signed into law, to make sure that we give people time to make the appropriate decisions for themselves and their families. The last thing we want is people signing things under duress or under trauma. Now, what we've been working on has really been being able to modernize the department. We have been operating under 20th century regulations for a 21st century problem. We know climate change has been particularly devastating, and these communities have been hit back to back with fires, as we're seeing throughout the entire state. We have some commitments now with the changes that we've made in our regulatory scheme. We've seen some announcements now from insurance companies coming back, growing into these communities, and we have a plan that we're going to be implementing this year. And we're starting to see already insurance companies come in. We need to make sure we allow them to use technology so that we can better track and understand how these fires are reacting. And we also need to make sure that we're adjusting the price of the risk. And this is one thing that we all can work together, is bringing down the risk, ensuring that we're building up to code. Now the challenge is, what do we do with folks who are on limited income, that cannot afford to make these mitigations to their home and harden their home against fire? And this is where we're working this year to create programs, specifically grant programs, to help people replace their roof, fortify their home, because that's how we transform these communities and make insurance companies come back into these communities. So we have a lot of work to do, but at the moment right now, please, we're just asking people to call our department. Do not sign anything under duress. This is a very traumatic moment, as you've been hearing from folks, and we want to let them know that, please look out for fraud. Do not sign anything, and we're here to be able to help them through the entire process. We'll be there since day one, and as soon as the the first responders allow us to come in, we'll be talking to folks, and we'll set up our shop there to talk to people and help them through this process.
I just want to clarify, what do you mean about warning homeowners not to sign anything under duress? Just clarify that for our viewers.
Absolutely. As you can imagine, this is a very traumatic moment, and we haven't had a moment to really talk about the trauma that it is to come in. And so now families are not only evacuated, often what we've seen, unfortunately, throughout multiple fires and different years throughout the state, is that you start seeing out-of-state adjusters come in trying to, cut a deal with homeowners, saying, well, we can give you 70% of what you're entitled to when you're really entitled to 100%, or depending on what your policy says. And so this is why it's important to understand that there is a 3-day cooling off period. If you have any issues or just have any questions during this traumatic moment, to call our department. We'll have somebody guide you through the process. And so what we see often is, unfortunately, people coming in and really taking advantage of folks in a very vulnerable state that they're in right now.
Okay, Ricardo Lara, thank you very much for your time. That is such good information, California Insurance Commissioner.
Thank you.
And it is so important for people to also remember when the rebuilding process starts, to be patient there too. Don't let anyone stress you into doing things before you're ready.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel, and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.